News, events, sports. Same time, same place, right in the heart of Isla Vista. UCSB TV is serving UC Santa Barbara and the surrounding community with real journalism.
Hello and welcome back to UCSB TV, UCSB's only broadcast TV station, bringing you all of the sports, news, and events you need to know for the week. I'm Alexandra Goldberg, UCSB TV producer, and on this week's show, our sports crew is coming out with a special end-of-the-year series called Training with D1 Athletes. Today's show is all about women's basketball and women's soccer. Then, joining us on the show is a newly formed community group called the Autism Advocacy and Awareness Organization. This organization's goals are to educate UCSB about autism and foster a sense of community on campus. But up first, Extravaganza, a UCSB festival held once a year and put on by the AS Program Board, went down last Sunday, May 21st at Hurtado Stadium. Over 6,000 Gauchos came out for an exciting lineup of artists in genres ranging from rap to EDM. News reporter Rebecca Fairweather has that recap.
On May 21st, thousands gathered in Hurtado Stadium to celebrate the long-awaited Extravaganza put on by the Associated Students Program Board. While the student body buzzed over who would be performing, Program Board members let excitement build until they revealed the headliners on Stork Lawn on Thursday, May 11th. The lineup included artists Destroy Lonely, Remy Wolf, and Galantis. The board later included JPEG Mafia to the list, but he could not attend. Students got a chance to see some of their favorite genres on the big stage, including genres such as rap, EDM, and alternative pop. Catering was also offered from numerous organizations and local Isla Vista restaurants. Active Minds provided Supercuca's Agua Frescas. Women in Business served nachos and mangonadas. Woodstock's Pizza also shared a space on the field, with students waiting in line for up to 20 minutes to get a slice. The program board provided other spaces for Gauchos to hang out or relax in. A bouncy house had long lines stretching across the soccer field as students raced to take off their shoes and face the obstacle course. The field featured a cool-down area offering shade from the sun that peeked out during the festival. Many were spotted wearing Extravaganza totes and drinking from the complimentary water bottles. I spoke with AS Program Board Special Events Coordinator Wally Korngold about how the program board planned for this major event and the work that goes on behind the scenes.
My name is Wally Korngold, and this year I have served as the Special Events Coordinator. I am definitely very passionate about music. I play in a band outside of school and outside of program board, and I have something kind of on the music business side with this, which is really exciting. During COVID, when I had just committed to UCSB, somehow I stumbled upon the program board's Instagram account. And it was really just something I came across accidentally, and then that led me to wanting to apply. I'm in charge of coordinating the largest concerts that Program Board and UCSB puts on to the undergraduate students. So that would include Welcome Back, Delirium, the Warm-Up, and Extravaganza. But Extravaganza, I definitely learned, was on a different level. I kind of expected to be a little bit slammed by feeling a bit underprepared. Thankfully, our advisor, Marilyn Dukes, has been an absolutely fantastic source of information. For the warm-up, for example, that was a more down-to-the-wire booking. Same with the last artist for Extravaganza. Sometimes that's just the way it goes. You can start as early as you want, but you can just get no after no. But down-to-the-wire, day of show-wise can definitely happen, when the time comes when you're about to open doors and making sure everything's in place. There can definitely be small things that you realize you should have had in the back of your head beforehand. The whole reason why I kind of joined board and went from concerts assistant to special events coordinator is because I'm really interested in the music industry, and I think it's really cool to be able to have direct contact with the agents. At the very beginning of the year, started to compile this master spreadsheet of all these artists belonging to these different major agencies. I would just kind of reach out and send an email, kind of just introducing myself, saying hey, is this artist available during this time? Probably looking for Welcome Back because that's the first one. And if so, what's their asking price? Once the board starts having discussions, they can refer to that sheet. They can refer to just anyone else that they feel like would be a good fit. after deliberation, we will officially pass an artist, which that kind of authorizes me to start working on an offer to send to them. The yes or the no can depend on a lot of different things. It can depend on where they're based, availability issues. A lot of different factors are in play. For certain shows, it would be helpful for students to understand like that every show that we book, the person that performs was not necessarily the first person that we went for. Bring Drake, like bring Bad Bunny. It's like, you think we can afford that? No, definitely not. It would just be helpful for them to know that we're like trying our best. Sometimes we hit hard, which is awesome, and sometimes it's not as good as we would have wanted it to be.
So what does the future of program board look like to you? What does it look like to your board?
It's a great question, very pertinent, especially because our supervisor, MD, is leaving. She genuinely like holds so much knowledge. During Extravaganza, that's usually a time when a lot of alumni from program board will come back. There were specifically a lot of alumni that came back this year, maybe a little bit because the lineup was cool and they were excited for that, but mostly because of the fact that MD was retiring. We're going to continue to do the same stuff, hold the same events, but without her, it's just going to be even more up to us to kind of be able to store important knowledge because we don't have the all-knowing person to ask questions anymore.
Yeah.
So we'll see.
The festival comes at a much-needed break in the quarter. As finals begin to come into view, the program board also has on-campus events lined up to help students de-stress on the way to class. They are continuing to host popular stork shows and free Tuesday films at Ivy Theater. With UCSB TV, I'm Rebecca Hurtado Fairweather.
That was Rebecca Fairweather reporting from Extravaganza 2023 at Harder Stadium. Up next, sports reporters Ryan Greenberg and Hannah Abergel are kicking off UCSB TV's first ever Training with D1 Athletes series, starting with women's basketball, joined by Alyssa Marin, and women's soccer, joined by Dillon Lewis. To you, Ryan and Hannah.
Hey Gauchos, Hannah Abergel here with Ryan Greenberg, your sports anchors for UCSB TV. This week we had a little bit of a different segment.
Instead of just interviewing our athletes, this week we got the chance to train with them too. We had the opportunity to train with Alyssa Marin of women's basketball and also Dillon Lewis of women's soccer.
Come along with us and see what it's like to train with our women athletes.
Let's have a look. All right, what's going on, Gauchos? I'm here with Alyssa Marin of women's basketball. Alyssa, thanks for coming out today. My first question is, how many hours a day do you train?
For right now, during the spring season, we're only practicing about 4 hours a day of basketball, and then for 3 days a week, we have weight training for 1 hour. Basketball practices are usually just an hour, and then by ourselves, we usually like to shoot for about 30 minutes to an hour.
Okay, so you're training all 7 days a week?
Yeah, pretty much.
Okay.
Yeah.
And then how many months out of the year do you train?
We usually don't really take too much of a break. We have a summer break, which is usually around 6 weeks.
Okay.
But usually with that, I mean, it's kind of hard to just take a bunch of like days off with it and then try to jump right back in. So I would say we usually don't take like a straight like month or so off. We usually kind of just like minimalize it a little bit and go about like 3 days a week.
Cool. And then how many years have you been training full time?
I've been training full time since I want to say maybe 6th grade.
Ooh, wow.
Yeah, so it's been a lot, but I've always enjoyed it. I've always had a lot of fun with it. So yeah, it's been fun.
Yeah, that's awesome.
As one of the key players for the Big West tournament, can you kind of walk us through how that tournament was and how was it for you being there and the pressure, and kind of just walk me through that whole mindset?
Well, the Big West tournament, first of all, was so much fun. It was such an amazing experience, and for my first 2 years here, we didn't make it past the first round.
Right.
So to be able to go all the way to the championship, and I mean, I absolutely love my team. I mean, we're so close, and we're still close. But to be able to experience that was so fun. Of course, we didn't win it like we wanted to, but just being able to get there was it was a beautiful experience. I loved it.
Okay, so for the first drill, we're gonna start off with layups. So you're gonna start right there at the elbow. I want a little dribble. Come off your left foot, right hand. Do a right-handed layup. Good, good.
There it is.
Okay, so do you guys think you could do your left side? All right, let's try left side. Left hand.
I am not at all ambidextrous when it comes to
Good. That was good. It was good footwork. Okay, next up we're gonna do some shooting. You guys are both right-handed, right? Yeah. Okay, perfect. So, with your left hand, you're gonna keep it like this on the side. And then with your right hand, you're gonna put it right here. And then that motion while keeping your left hand straight.
There it is.
Are you kidding me? Oh, he wants to go further. Nice.
So hard. I'm like jumping. Oh, don't.
Oh, no way.
All right, that's all the time we have today for women's basketball. Alyssa, thanks so much for coming out. Your time means a lot to us. And what can we expect from you and the women's team next season?
You can definitely expect a championship from us.
Oh, yeah. On film. On film.
All right, Gauchos, we'll go ahead and see you on the field for the next segment. This week, we get to interview Dillon Lewis from our women's soccer team. Dillon, how are you today?
I'm good. Thanks for having me. I'm excited.
Yeah, we're so excited to have you. Spring season just ended. Can you kind of give us a little rundown on how that was?
We actually had a really good spring this year. Out of 5 play dates, we won 4 straight games. Unfortunately, lost the last one to 2020 national champ Santa Clara, but really good game, and I'm excited to see how our team is in the fall.
How many hours a day are you training?
So in fall, we typically have 20-hour blocks, so that consists of 5 trainings Monday through Friday with 2 days of lift, maybe 3 sometimes, and that's only for fall. We get 1 day off in between playing on Thursdays and Sundays. Winter quarter, things slow down a little bit. We're in 8 hours, so that's like an hour and a half, 3 practices, still with 3 lift sessions, and then spring we go back to those 20-hour periods as well.
How many years have you been kind of training full-time?
So full-time, I've been training probably about 10 years, and I would say that started when I hit 8th grade around club, because club is like super intense. Starting that young, that's probably the highest competing level at that age. So yeah, probably like late middle school, 8th grade, nonstop.
Right. So that's a pretty stark contrast from my 0 hours a day, 0 days a week, 0 months out of the year, and for 0 years in a row. And I think the film you're about to see is going to prove that.
A game to play. Oh, you're warm.
I gotta take this warm up seriously. It's a playoff game.
Oh, is it actually?
For hockey?
No, for IMs.
Intramural.
Oh, for
So I'm gonna have my hands full tonight.
Wait, he's not gonna spawn, right?
Hell no.
No, you're left back.
Yeah. Well, we play a back 3. Oh. So I have to pinch and come to the center a lot.
Mm-hmm.
That's all we have for women's soccer today. Dillon, thank you so much for your time. You killed it. I think it was a very humbling experience, a very eye-opening experience, just to how talented our student athletes are. They really make the super complex and the super difficult things look really, really simple and second nature. So my hat's off to you and all of our student athletes. Closing remarks, Hannah?
Really excited to see what fall is going to look like for you women's soccer team. Dillon, any personal goals that you have this year?
Hopefully I make a first team all conference this year. I haven't made a team since my freshman year due to my injuries, but yeah, that's the main goal for me.
All right, guys, so be out on the lookout for Dillon Lewis out on the field, and we'll see you guys next week. You just saw our sports reporters Ryan Greenberg and Hannah Abergel training with UCSB women's basketball and women's soccer. Next up, news reporter Zuri Wilson is joined by Daniel Jin, Autism Advocacy and Awareness Club president, to chat about how this newly formed organization is fostering community on UCSB's campus.
Thank you, Alex. This past February, 6 UCSB students formed the new Autism Advocacy and Awareness Organization in order to educate the community about autism, dismantle societal misconceptions, and foster community for people on the autism spectrum at UCSB. Now that the organization is fully established, having held their first community event on May 6th, I was able to connect with Autism Advocacy and Awareness Club President Daniel Jin to discuss the formation of the organization and his experience being a student with autism at UCSB. To start off, can you tell me about the process of forming the Autism Advocacy and Awareness Organization?
So kind of like two sides to this. It's just like being inspired by my work and then like wanting to create a safe environment for other students on the spectrum was my inspiration.
Can you speak to more about your experience of being a student on the autism spectrum at UCSB?
I can't really find many resources, but I have found that a lot of students on the spectrum a lot of students here at UCSB do have a pretty decent understanding about autism. So I felt like, at least before I started this org, I felt more supported by fellow students rather than the school. I feel like maybe DSP and the Keiko Autism Center could like try to do like more outreach to students on the spectrum, because I think those are like two primary, at least part of the school affiliated resources that are part of the school. Then they could do a lot.
What are some common misconceptions about autism that you have noticed at UCSB, and how is the Autism Advocacy and Awareness Organization looking to combat those?
Like, I think one that I've encountered so far, like at least here explicitly, is that autism is strictly associated with intellectual difficulties as well. And what we're trying to do as a club is to like kind of disentie those two. Not everyone on the spectrum will experience like autism the same way or act the same way as another person on the spectrum. May have like different needs.
So now can you delve into what is this organization's overall goal and mission? You already touched on it a little bit, but can you talk about that a little bit more?
So the first one is like create a sense of community, like a safe space for individuals on the spectrum. So that's one. Another is like promoting accurate information about autism and just like teaching people with autism just accurate information about it. And last one is like you said, support and empowerment for those on the spectrum.
How are meetings structured? What do they entail? And kind of how do the meetings help create a safe space on campus for students on the autism spectrum, as you were stating before?
So we should start with some kind of icebreaker game, like either like Pictionary. I know our first GM, we did human bingo. And then afterwards, we get into like a mini lesson. So lessons we've covered so far, it's like intro to autism, gender differences, and autism diagnoses. And then our latest meeting, we talk about how autism is represented in media, like TV shows, movies, etc. So icebreaker, a lesson. And then we have like announcements, a couple announcements for future events. And lastly, we have like a post-lesson like game of sorts. At the end of our meeting is some of the officers stay behind just a little longer if any of the general members want to talk to us about anything or like they want support from us. And we call that reflection. So after the post-meeting activity, the post-lesson activity, there's reflections.
So now that you guys are established, what is your vision for this organization? In other words, where do you see it going from here?
For next year, what I'm hoping to do is like grow the club like quite a bit, and at least get like a lot more general members who regularly come. At the end of like next school year, so like sometime in spring quarter, I want to do like kind of a bigger event, maybe collaborating with the Keiko Autism Center, or maybe even like a similar organization I call it at other UCs, other SoCal UCs, and just maybe have like a bigger event to like celebrate the end of the year, I guess, and for club members to meet like-minded people.
All right, so now it's just up to you to share any final thoughts or advice or reflections that you want to tell viewers, faculty.
Once you get to college, you kind of lose quite a bit of like support resources after high school, because in high school you may have a speech therapist or even a special education teacher, but then once you get to college, you kind of lose a lot of the resources you had before. High school graduates in general on the spectrum is that they kind of lose a lot of their school system based resources after they graduate. Definitely, I understand the feeling of like losing resources. So yeah, please come on out. We're here to help you, and we're here to like ease the transition to college the best that we can. So we have bi-weekly general meetings. for the next school year, we will be posting all our promos for general meetings and our events on Instagram. So please follow at UCSB Autism Advocacy.
Thank you so much, Daniel, for speaking with me today. If you are interested in joining or supporting the organization, you can follow them on Instagram at UCSB Autism Advocacy for updates and information. With UCSB TV, I'm your news reporter, Zuri Wilson. See you next time.
That's it for this week. Thank you so much for tuning in to UCSB TV, bringing you all of the sports, news, and events you need to know in and around UCSB's campus. As always, you can stay up to date with the team by following us on Instagram at UCSB TV. I'm Alexandra Goldberg, and we'll see you next week. Done.